Any questions from anybody?
Nope.
I'm seeing a couple questions, and I will answer them myself before I start the actual teaching.
Yep. So
Okay.
I'm not getting anything, so I'll hand it over to you, Colonel Taylor. So thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay. First of all, let's see here. I just saw one. For the most part, these are basic tasks for ground team. I have been taught, by the way, Lieutenant Colonel 30 Acre, he's the L&I Wing training officer. He's the one that decided to put this together and kind of twisted our arms to get instructors for these different courses. We don't have anything set yet, but we are trying to come up with a way of some of the more advanced tasks. So someone said here we're going to be covering advanced tasks. Right now, this is all the basic tasks. There might be a few overflow, but for the most part, it's the advanced tasks for ground team member. 3, maybe some 2 is thrown in there, and UDF. Like I said, in the future, we're trying to come up with a way. It might be one-on-one, if I can get a number of sets, or Colonel 30 Acre can get it, to where maybe with FaceTime or something, you could actually do an equipment check. And, we'd say, show us this, show us that, and we could actually sign off that you've got all your equipment. But right now, that's in the works. We don't know how long this social distancing is going to take, and we're trying to get as much training as we can in while we're doing this. Okay, let me look and see if there's anything else anyone asked before I get into this. As Colonel 30 Acre said, you have to, we had some people, we will not accept, do not take a picture. You have to complete the exams and the quizzes electronically. You can't take a picture of it, fill it out, and send it to me. I've got 65 to 70 students, and Cadet Zangs and I just do not have the time to grade them that way. We've got it set up so everything's supposed to be electronic. Same thing as signing in. You have to sign in electronically on this. So, to start off, I could not find a PowerPoint presentation, so you're going to, this is going to be, if you got the paper task guide. By the way, the other thing you should have is a pencil and a piece of paper and take down notes. Some of our quizzes, this task guide is from 2004, and you can ask some of the people that I've worked with for many, many years. We've changed some things. And if I say, hey, this is the better way of doing it, that might be on the test. So you have to listen to us. That's why we were asked to be the instructors on this one. So have a pencil and a piece of paper, take notes. Now, this one is going to be exercise universal precautions. This is task 4902. So if you've got the paper task guide, open it up to that. If not, and I suggest it on my email, you should download that the task guide and have it electronically on your computer so you can go through this to see what the requirements are going to be. So the objectives for this one, the student will take adequate action to prevent himself from bloodborne pathogens utilizing universal precautions while assessing and possibly treating the patient. I am also going to add something. It probably will not be on the quiz because but I'm going to add something on the precautions we've taken because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay? Universal precautions is the concept that all blood and certain body fluids are to be treated as if they're contaminated with human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, hepatitis B virus, and other bloodborne pathogens. An acceptable alternative to universal precautions is body substance isolation, the treating of all fluids and substances as an infection. Okay, materials requiring universal precautions. So you come up to either an air crash, a vehicle, or you're going to use your first aid knowledge. So If there's blood, make sure you put, and we'll go over, make sure you're using PPE. If there's semen, vaginal secretions, cerebrospinal fluid, synovial fluid, pleural fluid, and if you don't know what they mean, everyone's got Google now. Type it into after the class, type it in and you'll understand what we're talking about. Any body fluid with visible blood, any identifiable body fluid, and saliva from dental procedures. Materials, these materials do not require universal precautions unless there is viable blood. And that's feces, nasal secretions, sputum, sweat, tears, urine, and vomit. Only if you see blood in those items. And by the way, it says note, though not required, it could be difficult for team members to determine if blood is present, and they should exercise universal precautions if unsure to be safe. Okay? All right. And are you watching in case someone comes up with a question for me while I'm looking down, Kurt?
Not a problem.
Okay. Personal protective equipment, and that PPE, like gloves and masks, must be used whenever you might be exposed to blood or other potentially infectious materials. Rubber gloves and surgical masks create a basic barrier between the provider and the survivor. It protects both from transmitting potentially harmful diseases. These are some basic rules to follow in executing universal precautions. When conducting a hands-on assessment of a patient, so you got someone laying on the ground, you want to check if they're bleeding, you're going to turn them over. You're going to put on those gloves before you do anything. Okay? If you've got goggles or safety glasses, you're going to put the goggles and the safety glasses on. And again, because I'm going to go into the COVID-19, you're going to put a mask on. Right now, mask is required also. At least wear a surgical mask and goggles or face shield. You got to change those gloves in between patients. So if you're at a crash scene and you got 3 or 4 victims, and you do an assessment of the first one, and you grab someone that's not as knowledgeable, here, watch this person, and make sure they don't go into shock. But you've already checked them out. You've got to change the gloves if you're going to go to another victim. Use well-fitting disposable latex or vinyl gloves for any task involving exposure to blood and other body fluids. Make sure extra pairs are available. So you should have protective gloves in your 24-hour gear, not your 72. Your 24 is what's on your back. Your 72 is what's back of the base. Before putting...
Sorry.
Say again?
I want to interject really quickly. They said use latex-type gloves. They're kind of going away from that in the field because so many people have latex allergies. Get the nitrile-type gloves. That way, we shouldn't have any issues. Because there are a lot of people out there with latex allergies. So that's just what's happening in the first responder and medical field. So if you can't get nitrile gloves, please do that instead of latex.
Okay. Before putting on the gloves, make sure they have no holes, cracks, or tears. So what you can do is grab it and put some air in it and see if that air stays in there. Okay? Change gloves if they become torn or dirty. Remove gloves by grasping the husk and pulling them off. Now, again, I couldn't find anything. There is what it is, you've got these gloves, they've touched a bloodborne pathogen. So when you go to take them off, you don't want to be touching your bare skin. So you've got to gently remove the one glove without touching it, roll it back, and then you're going to take that glove and put it in your other one, and the same thing with that. Now, you've got the outside of the glove all, where no one has touched it. Now, here's the problem. We are not an emergency medical organization. We do not have the facilities or the requirement to get rid of that. So you've got hazmat. So what happens when the emergency medical people get on there, hand this to them. Just don't toss it in the garbage. It is hazmat. So you want to hand it and say, here, I had to use this while we're on the scene. They will get rid of it. They've got all kinds of paperwork they have to do when they get rid of their hazmat material. Okay? You want to use work gloves over latex gloves when working around broken glass or sharp surfaces. For instance, when removing a person from an auto wreck or a crashed aircraft. Dispose of latex gloves in identifiable medical waste containers. We don't have any. So hand them over to the paramedics. They will get rid of them for you. And that may be on your quiz. Again, doesn't say that here in the book, but that's something I've been doing. I've been doing this for 35 years, and this is something I've done. I've always handed, and never have a paramedic or anyone question it. They say, oh, thank you. Okay? You want to wash your hands following removal of the gloves. Hand washing is the best overall protective measure against most communicable diseases. Wash your hands and other skin surfaces thoroughly with soap and running water immediately after contact with blood or other bodily fluids. When running water is not available, waterless hand wash substitutes should be used until a more thorough hand washing can be accomplished. Okay, now I'm going to put my 2 cents in for the COVID-19. You know, we're all under restriction. We're all going crazy. We've been stuck at home for 3 months. In Illinois, we have social distancing. You're not supposed to get closer than 6 feet to someone. You need to have a mask on, and they just keep reiterating hand washing. So the same. I don't know what the policy is going to be in the future on ground teams. I personally, if I was going to go out on a ground team, I would not have a van load of people right now. Okay. The other thing that we are doing is in Illinois Wing, and I know we got people from all over the country. We are sanitizing our vehicles, and this kind of goes into protecting ourselves. You sanitize it before you get into the vehicle and after you leave, after you're done with the vehicle. Okay. Now you want to say, well, if they cleaned it when they were done, why am I cleaning it before? Well, do you want to take the chance that the person that used it listened to me? So make sure you sanitize it and all the parts that might be touched or anything like that. Sanitize it. We should have, now you can get them, you should have alcohol wipes and stuff like that to clean down the vehicles. Do not use bleach water on our vehicles. You will ruin the dashboards and everything. But the wipes and that, they're of low intensity and they will do what we're looking for. Okay? Now, let me see what else. All right, again, we're going to come up with a quiz. We can't physically see you do this. So we're going to come up with a quiz so that to make sure you understood what we were trying to get through to you. If I was watching you doing it, the student assesses the scene and determines accurately to wear rubber gloves, face shield and goggles, and other eye protection as necessary. Okay? There's going to be a question on it to see if you understood what we're trying to tell you. The student properly demonstrates how to remove rubber gloves, exposing himself to potential pathogenic materials. Again, that will be on the quiz. We will come up with something. Now, oh, by the way, for quizzes, Cadet Zangs and I realize we will no longer have fill in the blank. We can't, it just takes too long, and some of them are so subjective. So they're either going to be true or false, or they're going to be multiple choice. Now, you might be 5 questions, but in that one question, there might be 5 parts. Now, for those of us who haven't been in school a long time, remember, if one part of that answer is wrong, that answer is wrong. So you've got to find the answer that best fits what we're asking for. Okay? The student either demonstrates or verbally explains why changing gloves between patients is necessary. Okay? And for those of you that I had some people, the only one that we was the general quiz on task-based training. There is no, or what percentage do I have to get wrong? It's pass or fail. If there's 4 sections to that quiz, you need to get all 4 correctly. We are coming up with makeup quizzes. I know you guys are spending a lot of time on Monday nights with us, so we don't want to just have you not pass. So we will come up with some makeup quizzes, and it just means you'll have to study a little bit more to make sure you can pass the second quiz. All right. So that's what I've got for bloodborne pathogens. Any questions? And if you've done the task already, you might want to look at the date. And it doesn't matter if you've already done the task. It just means if you enter it again, it just means you're going to have the date's going to be moved up. So it just gives you a little bit more time to complete ground team training. So it doesn't matter if you've already done it. You can still fill it out. Oh, and by the way, when you do the task, Kurt, did you say we had a mission number?
Yes, there is.
I couldn't find it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's in Wimmers.
Huh?
It is in Wimmers.
Okay, because I need to have them put that mission number on when they sign off and when they ask me to sign off the tasks. So if you could get that mission number for me. Otherwise, I've been having them put in ILWG VT, virtual training.
Okay.
That one will work also. At least that way we know where you got the training at.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Okay.
One thing I wanted to add, maybe a good, when everyone get back together and you guys are at a squad meeting, a good little practice that you guys can do with practically taking up gloves. This is a trick I learned. In my field, I'm a safety and health professional, and one of the trainings I was taught is blood removal. What we were told was put the gloves on, and then somebody with shaving cream, and you guys smear it in your hands. And if you can take off both those gloves and get shaving cream all over, that means you did it properly. It's just a little kind of extra hands-on, kind of make it more realistic. Excuse me. Or if you want to go with the whole costume blood thing, you can. That might be a little bit messier, but that's just kind of a nice little trick to show that if you're doing it properly or not. So.
Okay. Now, bear with me. My right-hand man is not with me tonight right now. So I got to see how I do the presentation next. Hold on.
If you, there should be a button near the bottom. You got to scroll over. It says present now.
It says present now. Now, how do I do it? Do I just drag those in there?
Notice if you hit present now, it's going to ask you what you want to do. And this is where it gets a little confusing.
Oh, okay. All right. You'll have to pardon me if it wasn't for Cadet Zangs. I am not as computer literate as he is.
Okay. So you can either hit the entire screen if you have your presentation up, or you can hit Chrome tab. But well, sorry, you don't want Chrome tab. Excuse me.
Okay, I'm looking for my. Oh, there it is. All right, let me go. Okay, so.
And somebody asked about the evaluator number.
Present now.
We can do that. We'll do that at the end here.
A window. Oh, I see. Select. All right, I got to try and figure out how do I get this on here. Is it supposed to, can I grab it from Google?
You shouldn't have to if you have it opened up on
Oh, I have to open it? Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Automatically open it up and then you can.
Oh, okay. Again, gang, stand by. Okay. Okay. Now I got it on my computer.
Okay.
And
all right, and I just entered the information for the mission. If everyone wants to get ready to copy, I can give it to you. It's in the chat too, but it's 20 TAC or dash T Tango TAC dash 5083. So again, 20 TAC T Tango TAC 5083. So enter that when you enter the on ops calls. You'll enter that for the mission number.
Okay, can everyone see the PowerPoint I put together? Kurt?
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Maximize.
Huh?
You're kind of showing
what?
You're kind of showing your file. Yeah.
Hey, 1 second.
Make it like maximize the screen, or I can present it if you want.
Yeah, it's the potpourri.
Okay. Yeah.
Go to potpourri.
It'll be easier for me.
Is it coming up?
Yep. Give me a second.
Okay. Okay, the slides we're going to see, there were no PowerPoint presentations for the following tasks, so I decided to make my own slides instead of having to just talk strictly out of the book. So we'll, this way you'll see what's in the task guide, and then I can add, Colonel 30 Acre can add to it also.
Okay. Should be seeing it now.
It's coming up, it says presenting.
Okay. I forgot to maximize. If I maximize, I can't get back to the view. Oh, there it is. There's
This is, can I try hitting present up top in the upper right corner?
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you're here, great. You can watch the chat then. It's not let me. All right.
I'm still getting a couple things ready, but I am listening in, so.
Oh, there it is.
Is it
Okay. All right. Okay, Kurt, since you're presenting it, I'll just tell you to change the slides for me.
That's fine.
Okay, again, I had to come up and potpourri. I couldn't come up because we have a number of tasks we're going to cover. So this is just a hodgepodge of the same type, different tasks that we have to go over. And so I just stole from the Emergency Service School their. Okay, the first one, 0406, is whistle signals. And this is in the task guide. And believe it or not, that little whistle is an important part of your 24-hour gear. And you notice I say your 24-hour gear. Again, we do have to have 24 and 72. That whistle's not going to do you any good if it's back at the base and you're 72. Your 72-hour gear is normally your sleeping gear and extra uniform and extra material that you may need to restock your 24 after being out in the field all day long. So whistle signals are used to transmit your location if lost. And so if you're a ground team member and you get lost, whistle signals are also used to attract lost members of the public you're searching for. So, and we'll go into a little more detail in just a second on this. Okay. I get this thing right in the middle. Whistle signals are used to command and control members along a search line or whenever team members are separated too far for voice communication and you don't have a handheld radio. For a search line, the whistle signals for a line search are, and this will be on your exam, I'm letting you know right off the bat, some way or somehow. One short blast means you want to forward the line. Two short blasts, you want the line to stop wherever they're at. If you're moving and you hear only one blast, stop anyway. You might not have heard the first one. Okay? Three short blasts means help or danger. Stop immediately. Okay? And then one long blast, you want to assemble on the signal origin, the person blowing the whistle. It could be the ground team leader, it could be someone on the right flank, it could be someone on the left flank. But one long blast means to assemble on that signal. Next.
I did want to.
Oh, go ahead.
I want to add something with that. The whistle signals, again, are going to depend on the situation you're in. In some terrains, and you'll learn this, you're going to be so close together, you guys can practically touch each other. So you may not use a whistle for that because you guys are like 4 or 5 feet apart from each other. Other times, you guys might be so spread out you can't see each other sometimes. That's when the whistle signals come into play. So it depends on the situation you're in, but if you guys can pretty much casually talk and everybody can hear you, you won't need the whistle. And you can if you want, but it's not necessary. But so it depends on the situation you're in, but most of the time you're going to use a whistle. But there is some terrain that you're so close together that you're pretty much elbow to elbow. So if you want to have a whistle for that, you can, but it's not really necessary.
Now, this is even when you're out with the family and you're traipsing around mountains, forests, and that. It's a good idea, to have some type of 24-hour pack, with some extra food and a whistle. I'm going to ask my cadet, Cadet Zangs, did you have a whistle on you traipsing through the mountains of Utah?
Yes, sir. There's one.
See, I love it.
And I do have I do have that as an option when I'm going through the mountains.
Yeah. By the way, he just joined in. Him and his father have been traipsing around mountains in Colorado and Utah for the last couple of days. Okay. We want to conduct attraction techniques. And this means you're trying to attract someone who's lost. So when you're part of a ground team on a search for a missing person or persons, you want to make it easy for the missing person to find you. So if the target of the search is conscious, it's advantageous to let the target know you're in the area. That way, even if you don't spot him or her, he may signal you. This is by conducting attraction tasks, basically be invisible and easily heard. Stealth is not a good thing on a search line. However, you still need moments of silence when you listen for the target's response. By day, noise is the primary attraction. At night, noise and light are effective. And stand by while I go to my reference text here. I'm going to check something. $46. Okay, yeah. All right. Again, I hate boring slides, so this is some cadets were down at Mesa some year. I don't know what year. Okay, next. Okay, sound attraction techniques. Also, I'm a minion. I love minions. Sound attraction techniques, usable day or night. Shouting out the target's name. Now, you want to make sure it's been released by the public affairs officer first. You'll be yelling, Johnny, 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 and there'll be someone from, say, the newspaper writing all this down. So you want to make sure it's already been released. Now, this one I wonder, because if we're on a line search, honking vehicle horns during route searches, unless I'm doing and I very rarely would be doing a missing person search from a vehicle, but it does say to honk the vehicle. Maybe I'd have a vehicle going around honking, but the team itself wouldn't. Use of public address systems. So if you've got a big old megaphone and you want to carry it with you, go ahead. And here's the one that ground teams use the most, the sound sweep. On command from the team leader, the team halts, and all members blow their whistles for 15 seconds. After blowing the whistle, the team remains stationary and silent for 1 minute, listening for a response. So after doing that, and actually, remember, like in my case, I'd probably turn around in a circle. I'm hard of hearing to see if I could hear anyone responding to it responding to that sound sweep. Any questions? Next one, sir. Okay, light attraction techniques. And again, you see this, these are tasks, all 0407. Light attraction techniques, building a bonfire when stationary. So if you're at the base camp, and it's permissible, I build a bonfire. Someone might be up in the hills or something, and all of a sudden I'll see that fire, and they know they've got to get down there. You want to hang light sticks in trees when stationary. Be sure to collect them when you leave. Shining flashlights. Avoid blinding members. If you're searching without lights, use red or blue. Use red or blue for attraction light to avoid night blindness. Car headlights during vehicle searches. And you could hang some signs. You could take your a piece of paper out of your pocket, and you could just say, head in this direction. We're looking for you, and just put it against a tree or something like that. I threw on your 24-hour gear, by the way. You notice I put a headlamp. We all carry flashlights, but headlamps in the search and rescue world nowadays is really you really need that. That way, your hands are free, and you can just keep that on your head. Next. Okay. Hold on one second. Let's see. Okay, I've got some stuff here I want to go over, but I'll do it after we're done here. Identify aircraft search clues. This is task 0408. Searching for a missing aircraft is an exercise in locating clues that will lead to the location of the aircraft. These clues are found by conducting air and ground search, airfield searches, ramp checks, and witness interviews. Ground team members on searches in wilderness areas should look for the following. You want to look for changes in the terrain, broken or disturbed trees or underbrush, landslides, horsetails caused by windblown snow or sand, break in the terrain, blackened or discolored areas, smoke, and presence of scavengers, vultures, and wolves. Now, many years, I'm strictly ground. Many years ago, I took a scanner course, and I couldn't find the graphics on it. And depending if an aircraft crashes, depending on the aircraft goes down, if all of a sudden he drops out of the sky, basically your pilots and your scanners, they're probably just looking for a hole in the ground. If they came in with a glide path, but they were in a forested area, they're going to probably take out a bunch of trees. So that's what we're looking for. If any of my pilots around here, if you got anything to add that would help the ground team, join in. Okay. Go to the next one.
I was going to say smell is another one. Avgas has a very unique smell, so definitely keep your nose open for anything that could potentially smell of avgas or gasoline.
That's the next slide. Smells. So smoke, decomposition odors, fuel, oil, or brake fluid. And thank you, sir. Okay. And you want signs of the aircraft. Pieces of wreckage, twisted metal, seats, etc. Fuel, oil, or brake fluid. Remember, those of you who have been in a while, the faucet search, that one took weeks and weeks and weeks, and then they didn't find anything until the following spring when some hikers had actually found some wallet or something because they went into the side of a mountain. In Illinois, we don't have that problem, and I did not realize, but I've got people from all over the country taking this virtual training. So thank you. Illinois Wing welcomes you. Signs of the pilot and the passengers, bits of clothing or personal effects, trail markings, footprints, campfires, garbage, signals. They'll have a signal mirror. They should have a signal mirror in their kit. And you might want to be looking to see if anyone's trying to signal you. And unusual sounds, voices, creaking metal. as you're searching, be listening. Someone might be screaming. Help me. So you gotta keep that in mind. Okay, next. Down aircraft do not usually come down intact and do not usually even look like aircraft on the ground. Caveat is that if they land in a cornfield here in Illinois. So you are not looking for an airplane, you are looking for signs of an airplane crash. On two of my actual, the plane almost came straight down. We found them hanging in the trees. One was just on the border of Indiana, and the other one was Super Bowl Sunday. And we found them, kind of at the end of the. It was a homemade job, and we found them hanging actually at the end of the runway the next day. So recognition and detection of clues to the aircraft location is critical. Okay. Next. Okay, identify missing person search clues. Searching for a missing person is an exercise in locating clues that will lead you to the location of the individual or group. These clues are found by conducting ground searches, air search, and witness interviews. Ground team members on missing person searches in wilderness areas should look for the following. Hey, and it looks almost the same. Pieces of clothing or equipment. Smoke or sight by sight or smell. Food wrappers, trash, cigarette butts. Broken or disturbed trees or underbrush. If it's someone that does a lot of hiking, okay, hopefully they've got some type of marking tape or something that they could put out so you could find them if they decided to leave the crash site. Next. Okay, physical clues continued. Presence of scavengers. So you look in the air, you see vultures. All of a sudden you hear wolves. Especially with vultures, they're overhead. I would head for the area that you see vultures kind of going around and see if there's anything over there. Signs of human passage or occupation. Especially in a grassy area, I want to look and see if anyone laid down. Has the grass been flattened? Have twigs, have branches been broken or anything like that? Any signs of human passage. Look for. I'm not a man tracker per se, but if there's been rain, you want to start looking to see if you can find any compressions from shoes and stuff like that. And then, of course, decomposition odors. Unfortunately, if you've been on one for 2 or 3 weeks and they did not make it, then you'll be looking for a corpse. Recorded clues. Before you send a team out, you want to go to if there's a trail register, you want to check that trail register and see if they registered themselves. Or sign-in logs. Okay. Also, nowadays, you might want to find out if they had a cell phone. Maybe it's a bad area and they can't get out with their cell. But you might want to get their cell phone number and keep trying to call them. Maybe they're moving around and all of a sudden they get a good signal. Okay? People, witnesses, someone who saw them leave, or some other campers, stuff like that. And by the way, when this says missing person, this is also missing aircraft because again, if they left the crash site, now it turns into a missing person mission. And you want to talk to family and friends. You want to find out just what do they do? Are they familiar with the outside? Do they know how to do they know how to survive? Or are they, a weekend warrior, and really they had no business to be out there in the first place? Go next. And then events. Did we get any signals? I mean, now you're going, and all of a sudden there's falling rocks. Maybe there's another path above you, and all of a sudden these rocks start falling, and it could be the people you're looking for, or unusual noises. So missing people are considered to be clue generators. Rarely can any person travel through or be in the woods without leaving signs of their passage. Clue consciousness on the team member's part is critical. Do not look for the missing person. Look for clues that lead you to him. Now, I'm going to go over some characteristics. It's not in the task guide, but we may ask you questions on it because some of this is very important. So I'm going to give you some characteristics of different age groups. I've had to take these classes on missing persons when IEMA gave them. So children 1 to 3 years old, they're unaware of the concept of being lost. They don't realize they're lost, okay? Their navigational skills and sense of direction are practically non-existent. They tend to wander aimlessly with no specific objectives, so they're the worst ones in the world to try and find. They will seek out the most convenient location to lie down and go to sleep. Inside a log, under thick brush, under an overhanging rock, under a picnic table. Okay? So small kids are very hard, if they're mobile, they're really hard to try and find. Children 3 to 6 years old. These children are more mobile and capable of going farther than those in the 1 and 3 old category. They have a concept of being lost and generally try to return home or go back to some place they are familiar with. They have definite interests and may be drawn away by animals, following older children, or just exploring. When tired, they generally try to find a sleeping spot. Some have been instructed to stay away from strangers and as a result will not answer or talk to searchers when called by name. So that's a little bit of a problem there. I have a very loud voice. I would have a tendency probably to scare children. So if I've got a woman or a young, a female cadet, their voice a little bit, I would ask them to try and talk to call out the child's name so the child wouldn't run from us. Okay? Children 6 to 12, their navigational and direction skills are much more developed. They're generally orientated to their normal, familiar surroundings and become confused in a strange environment. Okay? May intentionally run away to avoid punishment, gain attention, or sulk. Okay? Darkness usually brings on a willingness to accept help and be found. Children this age suffer from the same fears and problems that adults would, but with a greater sense of helplessness. Their circumstances of loss often reflects their being transplanted into a foreign environment and surrounded by parents or other adults. Also, they may have a tendency to try to stay away from the searchers, thinking they're going to get punished by the parents once we find them. So you got to deal with all those things. Okay, now I'm going to go with elderly, and don't elderly. Now, by the way, for those of you know, I'm 72, so I'm way elderly. Often the person is suffering from senility or Alzheimer's disease. They're easily attracted by something that strikes their fancy. Their orientation is to past environments rather to the present. Many pose the same supervision problems that children do. The more active and lucid ones are likely to overextend and exhaust themselves rapidly, which can result in heart attack or other fatal complications. They are often hard of hearing or deaf, which presents problems with detection. So, and Alzheimer's, and we've been on a couple missing person searches in Illinois for Alzheimer's. And one down south, we never found them. The following spring, what happened, it was hot. The gentleman was in a soybean field. He was hot. He decided to take off his shirt and his pants and all that, made a pillow, laid down, and that's where we found the corpse. But, he just, it was so hot, and either he had a heart attack or the weather got to him. But he just laid down, and we went through that field a couple times and just couldn't find them. Okay. The last one is, and I don't like what they the term here. I'm just call this special needs children, mostly autistic and yeah. I'm sorry. I'm trying to think of the other one. I didn't write down my notes. But anyway, for special needs children, they act and react much the same as children from the age 6 to 12. Okay? They generally will not respond to their spoken name. Again, if you've got someone on your team that's got a little bit quieter, a little bit more comforting, let them shout out the name, and you have more of a chance of finding that child. They most often will be hidden from view as a result of fright or seeking shelter from the elements. Many times they'll hold up for days in the same location, and they really have no physical impairments except that they will do nothing to help themselves. So when we get called out for a special, a missing special needs, and we really got to react and help the other authorities. There was one other thing I was going to add with the other thing, and I learned too. Some of them, and even with small children, they may be leery, believe it or not, of someone in uniform. Uniforms do not really. I don't show like when I was growing up, saw someone in uniform, you gravitated to them. Uniforms might scare someone off nowadays, so you got to be real careful about that part. Any questions? Okay, next guide there.
I think it was it. Yeah.
Is that it on that one?
Yep.
Okay, I gotta look and see what one's next.
When everybody's done here, I'm going to actually enter something in the chat. It's a link to a book that if you're going to kind of continue on in this field, especially in the mission-based and search planning areas, I highly recommend you get this book because everything that was just discussed from Colonel Taylor, about all the behaviors and everything for all these different categories and age groups, basically was put together in this book. And whenever he's done,
it's a ground team member and leader reference text, and you can order that online.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying there's another book that is used by a lot of search teams called the Blue Bible. And I'll wait till the end here. Basically, this gentleman, he basically put together, it says here, 50,000 search cases he went and found the information on and compiled basically a database to find this information. So he essentially figured out how, here's what's going to happen, how far somebody away might go depending on the category. What behaviors do they have? Like,
I'll be right back.
Answer. They won't come to you. He figured all that out and put it together in this book. So I highly recommend if you're going to go into this more in depth, I'd recommend this book. So looks like most of the stuff's. Here's that link. So again, you don't have to get this, not required. I just saying it's just another resource for your tool belt. It's very beneficial. So, all right. Back over to you, sir.
Okay, Kurt, the next one looking for will be K9.
Okay.
I believe it's on there.
Yep. Give me a second.
Okay, open that one up, please.
It's slowly loading, so give me a second.
Say again?
I say it's loading, so just give me a second. So there was an error.
Huh?
So there was an error. Let me try it again. You have to download it.
Yeah, if we have to, we'll go to the NASA site and get it from there.
Yeah. I have to download it here.
Okay.
Oh, here it is. It's coming up.
Okay. While he's doing that, as you can see, we're trying to cover, we don't want to waste your time, and we're trying to cover as much as we can. And you have to bear with us, Cadet Zangs and I, we got a lot of work in the background, grading the tests, coming up with the quizzes so that we know you know what tasks we can sign off and stuff like that.
Okay. Should be able to see it now.
Okay, is that the one, did I say edit on that one? Or is that just strictly from NASA?
That's the one that's in the shared folder.
Okay, that's good. Don't worry about it. And let's see what one that one is. Okay, click to the next one. Okay. All right, this will be on the test, and it doesn't mean a lot working with canines, but there's 3 categories of search dogs: tracking, trailing, and air scenting. Okay, next. Tracking dogs. They're trained to follow a specific scent. An article is held under the dog's nose until it gets the scent. And so you don't want to contaminate the article. So in other words, you've got the T-shirt of a missing child. Don't put it in your pocket. Hold on. So you don't want to contaminate it. They can't. The tracking dogs can be confused. Additional scents masking the target scent, or it could be what they call a broken track, where for some reason the missing person, they're walking, then they decide to go down this area of water, go across this stream. Oh, now you got a broken track, and then the dog has to try and pick it up again. They want to use early to avoid searching after the scent has faded or other searches have been in the area. As a caveat, if you get called out for a missing person, and normally we're assisting other agencies, we're not the lead agency. One of the things I would want to ask as a ground team leader, are there dogs out or are you bringing dogs in? If they're going to bring dogs in, we're going to try and get a timeline. If those dogs are going to be in, say, in an hour, I'm going to have my people just standing by. Maybe we'll do a hasty search around, maybe we're at a campground. We'll do a hasty search around the campground. But we won't go out in the field because I do not want to contaminate the major search area. Next.
One thing I want to say with that, I've worked with a lot of dog teams over the years, mostly through other search agencies I've been with. I would say when you're getting a scent article, let the handler take care of that, or let law enforcement. As far as what we said about don't contaminate, let them handle the object if you can, because they know the proper procedure and sequence to do it. If you just go and grab it, you're going to mess things up. So they will know put gloves on. And to package it properly, stuff like that. So, if possible, let them handle it, and you guys just kind of stand back.
Thank you, Kurt. I haven't worked with dogs in teams very much. I'm not going to use these slides. They're kind of confusing. Next one. Trailing dogs. They're similar to tracking dogs, but pick up scent in the air in addition to the original track. Follows the trail of dead skin cells left when a person brushes up against objects, or that simply falls off the body naturally. Okay. Next. And then just keep going.
Yeah, it's very similar concept as the tracking dog we just talked about, but they kind of have a different process, and they kind of do more direct than just going. So, go ahead.
Okay, air scenting dogs, these dogs are deployed downwind of the search area, are trained to detect human scents traveling on the wind. One of the handlers one time I was working with, he says, yeah, we call them butt sniffers. So that's always stuck in my head. So go ahead, next. They can work in tracking or trailing mode, usually the preferred canine resource.
So with this one, it's a little confusing, but it basically, they're going to go more kind of what the wind's doing, and they're going to go more directly towards it than kind of the path that somebody took around everything. They're going to kind of just say they're in that general vicinity. That's where the dog's going to go instead of following the exact footsteps of that the person may have taken. They're just going to go general area.
Air scenting dogs typically specialized for wilderness search and rescue, collapsed structure, underwater, cadaver, drug, weapon searches, and evidence. Again, we got time, so on the cadaver dogs, and I mean, they can locate. I don't know how many of you were around when the Mississippi flooded many years ago. And there's some personnel checking one of the oil rigs, or whatever you call it, down in southern Illinois. And when they got down there, the place was surrounded by water. They went out by boat, and one of the guys ended up become missing. He went underwater, so they had to get a cadaver dog in. And what they do is they just get on a boat and they just start doing just like we would, like an open search. And their dog's at the front of the boat, and he's actually, because that cadaver, even underwater, is there's an odor coming up. Now, the one I was talking to one handler, and they got the dog indicated that there was something there, but it was getting late. So they decided to go on in, but they took a GPS reading, came back, went to the same location. Of course, the body had moved a little bit, but they started their search. Within 2 days, they found that cadaver, and that was just with the dog sitting in front of the boat. So they're amazing. Go on, next. Okay, and why do search managers use canine SAR teams? Greater probability detection, 50 to 80% POD on the first search. Less manpower intensive. Often ready available through local law enforcement early in the search. And a lot of the county EMAs and that, they'll have dog search teams also, volunteers like us. Go ahead. Anything, Kurt?
With that, no, I'm just going to say, from my experience working a lot of dog teams, get them called, get them rolling quick, because every second that you waste, the scent's going to start going down, and if you wait like 2 days later, they're basically worthless. Get them on scene as quick as you can. Again, I know it's not going to be our call. This going to be the search manager, the sheriff, who's ever in charge, but if you know of a dog team in the area and say, hey, I know this person, they're qualified and trained, get them in quick, because the quicker you get them on scene, the quicker the individual can be found. I've seen it many times. If it was just a standard, get the search teams out there and all sorts of stuff, it could take days. The dog can find them, very fast. So they are a great resource. But unfortunately, they're not around everywhere, so you might have to wait 6-7 hours for somebody to get there too, depending on where you're at as well.
Okay, 5 rules for working with dog teams. This will, in one way or another, will be on the quiz that we give you. You want to coordinate your team's actions with the dog handler, like Colonel 30 Acre said. You talk to them, find out, just what they want you to do. Show them where they might be able to find an article of clothing of the missing person. Don't touch it yourself. You want to clear the upwind search area of any personnel and stay downwind of the dog and handler at all times. So again, if you can get them out there early, remember last time I said urgency? Well, in this case, do what you can, maybe in the immediate area, but let's not contaminate the larger area and see if we can get a dog team in there. You want to keep a good distance behind the dog and handler and allow them to work unimpeded. And next.
One thing I'm going to say with that, with the clear search upwind search area, if feasible, have the dog go in first before you set anybody else goes in, because they could get distracted by all the scents that are around, even though they have an article they're searching for. I've seen this happen in the field with canine teams. They had searchers going in there first, and then the dog just couldn't do anything because they just got also overwhelmed. So if you can, have that area cleared, let the dog do its thing first, and you can go in later.
I've got something to say, but I want to see if I put it on here. Okay. When in doubt, follow the handler's instructions. Unless specifically requested, keep all resources away from dog teams in the field. Vehicle exhaust deadens the sense and the sense of smell of a dog. Here's the one. Not all STAR dogs can be considered friendly or pets. Don't feed them. Don't pet them. And some of the STAR dogs I wouldn't go near them, man. They're barking up a storm. So you don't want to go, hi, puppy.
And I think it kind of depends. If it's like a private search team, most of those dogs be friendly. But if it's like a canine team that's from law enforcement, that's a different situation. Those dogs are different. But most of the standard, volunteer search teams that have a dog will be friendly. But again, don't just treat them all as, they're not. That's kind of just the attitude to have.
And I'm going to add because of my, I've been doing this for 35 years. And I had a cadet, he's now an EMT. He's got 3 kids. We were at a farm doing an ELT search. The farm dog came up, and I won't say his name, but he put his hand down and goes, nice dog, bam, he gets bitten. Okay? In this case, do not pet dogs. You're at a farm, don't pet dogs.
Yeah.
I'm master rated in safety. I'm a ground team leader. One thing I hate more than anything else is paperwork. Okay? I hate putting an incident in because my cadet decided to pet this dog and this dog bit his hand. Okay? So, enough said.
Yeah.
That won't be on the test, but you guys are all coming in for ground teams. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah, most handlers will let you pet the dog if you ask them and if the work is done. So if they're done for the day, you can probably go and interact and pet the dog, but ask the handler first.
Okay, pros and cons of bringing dogs in. Pros, cover a large area quickly with a high probability of detection. That's POD. Not manpower intensive. They can get one dog team in and do the work of 2 or 3 ground teams, and requires little support. Okay? The cons? Limited availability in canines in some areas. Not always the best best resource late in a search. Okay? And those might be on there. Might be on our quiz again. Am I a nice instructor? I'm warning you guys. I should have all pass. Next.
You're kind of at the end, it looks like.
Okay.
One thing I wanted to bring up with the kind of the cons as well. I've worked with a lot of dog teams over the years. The only bad thing with dog teams is the dog gets spent very quickly. At most, the dog could maybe be out for 2 hours, maybe 3, depending on the situation. But you might get an hour or 2 out of the dog, and then they're done. They're going to have to come back to base, relax for a few hours, and then try it again. So that is another downside. Is they're only good for a certain period of time. where us as people, we can be out there for a lot longer. But again, they are great resources to have. It's just they have to be used properly, and they get spent very quickly. So don't have them try to do a huge search area that's impossible for them to do in the time frame. And handlers will tell you that. I've seen some handlers that have had some back and forth with the search planners, and basically said, "I can't do that area. It's too big for me." They said, "Do it anyway." They basically left the scene. They said no. So the dog handler, they know the best process for this and how to use their resource. So let them handle it.
Okay, I'm looking to tell you which one is next. Oh, team activation, the one that says phone tree edited.
Give me a second. Any questions with the dog names?
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I would recommend, if you can, reach out to your local dog team. They are a great team. They're a great team to work with, and it's good practice. I mean, it doesn't happen a whole lot. To be honest with you, I've never used a dog team for CAP use. I've used them for other times through other search teams I've been on. But if you can get them out there with the cadets interacting, that's a good resource, and they would enjoy it because they are very interesting to see work. So if you can, reach out to local county and see if they have a dog team available, because they are, somebody county that are very committed and professional. Yes, they are. They're very committed personnel, and they take a lot of time and effort to train dog. You think you can do it easily? It takes years to do it properly. So these people are very dedicated.
Okay.
All right. I'll start sharing here.
If anybody's got any questions, feel free to unmic and just say something to us.
Yeah. Should be seeing it now.
Okay. We just took part of the ground team activation so we could cover the phone tree. So click on the next one, please. What to do when you get the call. You want to treat the situation as a serious matter. You want to get contact information from the caller. Get as much additional info as you can. Make certain the person can get back to you. You want to give them your contact information. Remember whose job it really is. You may be called just because you are a known emergency responder in the community. Contact the agent, and you want to contact the agency with primary responsibility. Now, what this is saying, someone might know, especially senior members, they know you're in Civil Air Patrol, and you get a call saying, "Hey, we need you guys." So you need to get the information, and then you need to contact our emergency services officer, and then he would call the NOC and see if we can get a mission, But you need to get this information so we can get back to the person asking for help. Okay. One of the caveats: say there's a missing person. And I've been doing this for so long. One of the things, in order to get a mission approved, the first thing I tell the NOC is local resources are used up. They need our help. Remember, we are a federal asset, and we really can't just come in and take over. So I would say, nope. That county, they don't have anybody. They've been searching for a few hours. They need our assistance. So that's what I always, hey, nope, there's no local resources. They need Civil Air Patrol's help. What about you, Kurt? You agree?
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. Okay, next.
Nothing more to add with that. You're perfectly right.
When CAP is activated for mission, the IC or RUL, by the way, RUL in the Incident Command System, we are supposed to come up with on our ID, on our 101 card, they haven't done it yet, is the resource unit leader. On large missions, admin doesn't sign anybody in anymore. It's the resource unit leader who works under planning. They're the ones who vet everybody. They're the ones who call people in. So if I've got a mission, if I'm the IC and I think I'm going to need, it's a missing aircraft, I'm going to call someone as my RUL, and I'm going to have everyone, I'm going to direct all the calls to him because I'm going to be on the phone with this agency, that agency, trying to get things set. So that's what an RUL is for. So you will need to be able to readily get in touch with you with the information you need. This can be done by several methods: cell phone, voice or text, email. And in Illinois, we call it a red cap. Okay? I know I got people from all over the country, so I had to make sure you understood what we're talking about. And I'm going to show you our system in just a second. Next. Okay. In Illinois, let me clean this up. We have what we call a red cap. So in Illinois, when the duty incident commander accepts a mission after checking weather, she will send a red cap to all emergency services qualified members via a text message. The request will be short. Mission number, it will say request AC and ground team resources. Remember, on a text, it's got to be very short. And for whatever type of mission it is, missing aircraft, ELT, in a specified area. In other words, near Moline, near Elgin, Illinois. Okay? And then I'll have call either my name and the IC's name and phone number with the availability. Additional information will be sent to the ES list via email. Remember, we can only put so much on a text, so if I want additional information, in Illinois, we've got different lists. So we call the ES list. So if you're general ES, you're going to get this message with more information on this mission. If your unit has an alert plan, if they have an alert plan, contact the person in your plan to advise of your availability. In other words, you're not going to call the IC. If some of the units, they've got an alert plan, they've got ground teams, they've got enough people to have their own ground team and all that. So you will, and then that ground team leader will then contact the IC or his designee. If your unit does not have an alert plan or an established air crew or ground team, okay, this is what I call single resources. I've got a cadet. The unit doesn't have an existing ground team. They're really not that big on ES, but that cadet wants to get involved. Or that senior member. You can call the IC directly, give them your availability, and give them your information. It'll be logged in. Now, here's what I'm telling you, though. You do not move. You do not have the authority to go anywhere unless the IC tells you, okay, you're being activated, meet so-and-so here. Now, I'm going to mention it. I got a lot of cadets on here. I get a cadet, and I go, okay, yeah, I'm putting a ground team together. Meet me at the Walmart in Elgin. Well, in the meantime, your buddy saw the ES, saw it. He called you. He goes, oh, yeah, Lieutenant Colonel Taylor told me to meet him. That cadet decides to go to Walmart. No way. He's got to talk to me. So you do not self-deploy. You have to talk to the IC or the resource unit leader. You don't talk to your buddy and decide you're going to join the group. Okay? Be prepared to give the IC your name, rank, cap ID, unit number, your ES quals, and you don't have to give the whole thing. If you're calling because your ground team qualified, yeah, I'm ground team. If you're in trainee status, you got to let us know that also. And your contact info and availability. So your phone number, and are you immediately available, or are you available in the next 24 hours? Will you be available after school or work? So the IC will log you in and call back if you're needed. Under no circumstances do you respond unless directed to do so. Now here's another. We got some of very good friends. If the mission is not in your immediate area, about a 1 hour driving time, and that depends on where you live. Some people live in the city, it may take them 2 hours to get out there. But in other words, if it's not in the immediate area, don't respond unless an additional text is sent requesting additional resources. let the people, so if I say the mission is in the Elgin area, if you live down near Scott Air Force Base or down where Kurt lives, don't call me right away. You can call later on, but let the people that close to me get a chance to get in and give me their availability. And that's how I deal as an IC. Anything on that, Kurt? You are a group commander, and now you're the training officer.
Yep. No, nothing really. Just if you're available, let them know, because that's part of the problem sometimes is we don't know what resources are there because nobody really responds, or we only get responses from a couple hours away. Well, that's the case. We need to know that so we can get them rolling. So if you're available and at some capacity, just tell somebody.
Yeah, now, when I say don't respond, that's by voice. Now, if you want to send me an email, and you live a little bit farther away, you could send me an email. I don't know when I'll get to it, but at least you're not tying up my phone as the phone's ringing off the wall.
Yep.
Okay, next. So that's how we do it in Illinois. Other states might have a different system. Now, a sample phone tree, if you've got an alert process in your unit, this is the phone tree. So Lieutenant Smith, he sees my text. So everybody here would probably get this text. So if yours is a phone tree where the top person down calls, so Lieutenant Smith, he saw my request for resources, so he starts the phone tree. He calls Cadet Flight Officer Brown, and he calls Second Lieutenant Jones. First, find out if they've got availability. Also, do they have the time to call the people on their that they're supposed to call, and they're going to check the availability. And then this would flow back up to Lieutenant Smith. He would end up calling the IC or the resource unit leader and say, Unit ABC, we have a full ground team available. We can be ready in 60 minutes. Okay, and then you give at that time. By the way, now when you're doing this though, Lieutenant Smith or whoever's doing that, you got to have CAP ID qualifications, because when you're going to call back, I'm going to sign everybody into the mission. So I got to know CAP IDs and names so I can get them signed in the mission and say, okay, fill out a 109. As soon as you guys are ready to rally, you're cleared to go. So, okay, next. Okay, a minimum alert information. The type of mission: ELT, DR, overdue aircraft. MP is missing person. Expected duration. So as the IC, when someone calls me, in the old days, the IC would look on the list and he'd call, and you get a no answering machine. Now ours works just the opposite. We let our resources call us. So when they call us, I tell them, hey, it's an ELT. Hopefully we're only out tonight, but it could last 24 hours for all we know. Time and location for a ground team. Time and location of the rally point. A lot of times on the smaller missions, we're not going to open up a mission base. So the ground team, it's up to the ground team leader. They might meet back at the unit. They might meet at the parking lot of the Walmart, because it's closer instead of traveling 2 hours to their unit location. Special instructions. What do they need? They're 24 to 72-hour gear. What comm gear? Do they have an helper? And stuff like that. So you need the special instructions. You also want to be able to give them the mission number. And in both directions, make sure they have a callback number. A, for the person you're calling, and for the person making a phone call. Okay? Next, Kurt. If you're not ready to go out on a mission or have limitations to your participation, tell the person calling. Equipment. Yeah, sorry, my car is down. I can't go anywhere. Crew rest. Now, it's always been, we got a duty day, but a lot of us, not me, I'm retired, but a lot of us work for a living. So you've been working all day, and then you get called for an ELT. Well, we're looking, So it's up to you to decide. Are you going to be okay to go out maybe for 4 or 5 hours on an ELT mission? Okay. And you might want to say, hey, I want to make sure I get another senior member to help take over driving if I get tired. So always thinking safety. Other obligations. Okay, again, we're volunteers. Hey, sorry, my daughter's got a concert tonight at school. I can't make it. Okay, school or work. A lot, again, you guys work or you go to school. Health problems, illness. If you're sick, we don't want you. Stay home, okay? Now, if you really can't go out and you're qualified as an MSA, you could let me know, and I might use you as my RUL, okay? And, okay, you worked all day, and then you decided to go out and have a couple drinks with the guys or girls. You got to be up front with me and say, no, sir, I really can't go, okay? And the same thing with medication. Are you on any type of medication that's going to hinder you driving or flying? Because remember, I'm asking for air crew and ground teams. And if we're going to set up a mission base, I'm expecting you to drive to the mission base. So you got to be up front with us. And if there's anything impediment, you got to let me know. Next. Okay, that's conduct a phone alert. And that's going to be P0102 in your task guide. And stand by, I got to look.
Now, as Colonel Taylor said, this is going to vary by each unit, by each wing, how they do it. So I know some people are from different wings. So you just have to figure out, especially if you're new to this, how it's done, because again, it's not consistent through CAP. It's all going to vary by the circumstance. So please check with your unit leadership and ask, how is the process gonna work? Because some wings have a great system, other wings have systems that can be greatly I can't think of the term right now, so I'm trying to think of, but yeah, it's going to vary. So make sure you understand how it works, because don't get confused and show up to a mission when you're not supposed to. That's happened in the past. People are like, oh, well, I got a call, got to go to that scene. Well, no, don't do that. So every situation is going to be different. So make sure you wait for orders first. That's just something that I know has occurred in the past. So.
Okay. Cadet Zangs, are you still online?
Yes, sir. And I do have a short thing to present to everyone, just on the quizzes and some notes on those things.
Oh, what did you say now? I didn't understand you.
I just have a couple things to say about the quizzes. I got a short slideshow that I'd like to show everyone, just to clarify a couple things.
Oh, good, because we're running ahead. Now I was wondering if we still had some a little more training we can do here. Okay, take it over then.
Okay, stand by for the presentation. Yep, and if people can stick around for this real quick, that would be very helpful for us as graders, instructors, and everything like that. So,
let me stop for a second. Does anybody have any questions about the task we covered before we get into this?
And feel free to open up here.
Yeah, I know. Want to get to this information? I just want to make sure there's no questions out there that anybody might have. It's your guys' time right now, so.
I think we're pretty thorough, Kurt.
I just wanted to ask before we get started something different and make sure there's nothing out there. All right, go ahead, Felix.
Before you start this thing, Felix, one of the things I'm thinking about doing, I found a test from NASA. Oh man, this one's a ground team written exam for basic. I'm thinking about sending it to everybody. it's going to cover a lot more than what we're covering here. But I thought you could take the test. We're not going to grade it, okay? I'm probably going to put it as a Word document, but I have to take the test so because I don't have the answer key. And this way you would see where you're deficient, okay? Because there's a lot more on the test because it covers all the ground team, basic ground team. So I'm thinking about setting that up, send that out to all you guys, and you can take the test and see how you do, and I'll send the answer key. Only thing I ask is you do not share the test and do not share the answer key. Okay? It's once you're done with it, destroy it. Okay, all yours, Cadet.
All right, so just had a couple of notes to share with all of you on the quiz. I do apologize if I've been a little slow in responding to emails and stuff like that. As Colonel Taylor mentioned, over the past couple days, over the weekend and before, I've been traveling from Salt Lake City, and now I'm in southern Denver. So I've been a little bit behind on certain things. But without further ado, day one quiz feedback. That was the wrong button there. Was that? Okay. So, general statistics and information. I saw about 56 people took the general knowledge test. A reminder that if you want to have any task at all signed off, you must take the general knowledge test that is linked under day one in the course handout. All the other tasks had between 45 and 55 responses, so that was not too bad at all. Every quiz was very possible. There were multiple 100% results on each quiz from cadets and senior members alike. So congratulations to any of those or any of you who received 100%. That's really good to see from our side. The grading is current as of 27 June 2020, so 2 days ago, and that was pretty much the due date anyway. Note that the general knowledge test and actually each of the week one tests are still open. So if you had technical issues or did not get those in on time, please get those done as soon as possible and let me know. Right now, or some of the questions on the quiz, or all of the questions on the quiz actually were keyed. So if it said PP, it came from the PowerPoint slides. RT, it came from the reference text. The reference text is not to be confused with the task guide. Those are two separate documents, and each of them are linked in the course handout. And then risk management or general knowledge. General knowledge is basically, hey, you should have been paying attention during the meeting, or it was some sort of common sense question that we thought was relevant. So that's where each of the questions came from. Now, grading criteria. So in the task guide, each question, or their grading criteria that or evaluation criteria that say passed or failed. You either pass it or you fail it, right? And according to the task guide, every person must pass every task in order for it to be signed off. Now, because this is a virtual format and because of the way the quizzes were written, I took into account the entirety of the test, right? So did you get the main idea? And that includes, was it obvious that you referenced the task guide? Most of the questions, or actually all of the questions that had TG linked to it, you could have found the answer from within the task guide. If I saw that you pulled the answers from the first five, or from what you would get from a Google result, and trust me, some of you did do that, and I was able to locate the exact web page where you found the answers from. I have taken that into account when assigning a pass or fail grade. So please, please, please reference the task guide or the material that we key for each question when completing that. Now, per the instructions at the top of each quiz, you should have taken each quiz only once. So some of you submitted it multiple attempts, and thank you for trying extra. But we only took into account that first attempt because it does show you the correct answers after that first attempt. So if you did not pass that first attempt, we have remediation stuff. I saw a question in the meeting chat. You do not retake that quiz. We have separate quizzes that we are trying to write and post. But again, I have been on the road and busy for the past couple of days, so I was not able to get that done. Now, certain questions were automatic fails if they were incorrect. So again, keep in mind that if you got any question wrong, we had the right to fail you, right? But there were certain questions that we absolutely said that, hey, you did not get the gist of this task if you did not get this question. So if you said to take brand new boots into the field, right, this means brand new boots, you did not break them in, you're going to get blisters, blah, 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 blah. You did fail that task, right? Because the task guy mentioned that you should not do that. We emphasized during the presentation that you did not do that, or should not do that. So questions like that, we automatically failed the entire task. Now, other questions, I took into account the entire quiz and how you got the question incorrect. So there were other considerations beyond an absolute cutoff. Now, transfer of quiz results and attendance. So all multiple choice and multiple answer quizzes were graded automatically by Google, right? There were correct answers that I assigned, and Google just spit out a score. All short answer sections I graded by hand, and I was very generous with the allowance of what I accepted as a correct answer. Now, all quiz results are linked to the general knowledge test via CAP ID. So if you see in the quiz result page or the student quiz tracker, it goes by CAP ID, and I got that list of CAP IDs from the general knowledge test. So if you did not take the general knowledge test, or you had a typo in your CAP ID on the general knowledge test or any of the other quizzes, then the results were not transferred over correctly. All attendance was based off of the meeting chat recordings. So Colonel 30 Acre saves a copy of the meeting chat recording into Wimmers, and I pulled that down and I searched for you. I searched for you by name, I searched for you by CAP ID, I searched for you by just scrolling through, right? I want to make the credit if you attended. And then everything was cross-referenced using a computer program that runs roughly hourly. And of course, I need to be able to grade and stuff like that as well. So that is basically how we are able to get 56 times 7 tasks. So almost 400 individual tasks accounted for per person, or for this one session last week. So if you're interested, this is a little snapshot of the computer program that I wrote. There are 4 more lines in that, but basically that is a little snippet of the background work that we were trying to do and we were trying to put into this. So also some commonly missed questions. The one was, when you see signs of infection in blister, you should wash the blister with soap and water and continue your activities. The answer we were looking for was false, right? You should seek medical treatment. You should not be continuing activities. If you have an infection, it's time for you to step out, right? You can see in the bottom, there's a screenshot from the task guide under the evaluation criteria. You should seek medical treatment for painful blisters or signs of infection such as redness, throbbing, and drainage, right? Note that if you got only this question wrong on that task, you still passed it, okay? If you got other questions wrong, we took it into account, and you may or may not have failed if you got something else wrong. But if you got only this one wrong, you definitely passed the task. Another one, for the replenish step, one should purchase any replacement items immediately after the completion of every sortie. Oh, you should purchase items after each mission, not each sortie. Right there in the screenshot below in the task guide, it says after a mission, you should purchase any replacements you need. After a sortie, you're trying to find replacements from your team members and stuff like that, right? You're not going to go out to Walmart if you have the chance of being, sent back in the field in the next half an hour, right? That's just not realistic. So the answer we were looking for is false. And again, if you got only this question wrong, you passed the test. And then finally, hot, cold weather injuries, right? This was a big one, right? A lot of people have R's in that column because, of certain factors, right? The only thing I can say is look at the task guide, right? Each of the questions were pulled directly from the task guide. You can see an example of the question below, bottom right, signs of heat cramps include, select all that apply, right? And from the task guide, symptoms of heat cramps, severe muscle cramps, usually in the legs or abdomen, right? I wrote in the quiz, severe muscle cramps starting in the forearms and neck. So obviously, forearms and neck is very different from the legs or abdomen, so you do not select that, right? But you can see general weakness and dizziness and faintness were also signs, so you should have selected those 2 options for that question. And every other question was written similarly in that format. So that is where I got that from. Now, other notes, right? The questions we're writing, we're not trying to trick you, right? We're trying to make sure you're detail-oriented, but we're not trying to trick you. They're pulled mainly from the task guide and sometimes from other sources as listed in the question key. Now, take into account, sometimes there are field conditions and wording differences, right? I'm not necessarily going to write verbatim what the task guide says, but you should be able to synthesize that information, right? I did receive a question, very good question, by the way, but one was, hey, the task guide said immediately, right? And in the quiz, as soon as possible, right? Now, I meant the same thing by immediately, as soon as possible, because in the field, something may not be able to be done immediately, right? You have to do it as soon as possible, but maybe you have a more pressing matter or maybe the conditions are not right. So that is some differences like that. Now, another thing is we've been receiving evaluator requests and I've seen some show up in my inbox. Definitely direct them towards Colonel Taylor. It is in the quiz or the course handout as listed, so please follow that. And then also thank you for being so willing to work with us in this format. We know it's different, we know it's hard, and we're doing our best, right? And then finally, the validation and attendance sheet, right? So if you haven't already seen the Ground Team UDF student training student tracker, it is linked in the course handout. It is highlighted and bolded and underlined in the course handout on page 2. You should go take a look, right? The results are sorted by cap ID, and if you received a P, right, you can go and enter the validation request with Colonel Taylor's cap ID. Now, in the second tab on the bottom, you can also see the attendance, right? So if you received a P for that task under attendance, that means you're present. And if you received an A, that means I did not see your cap ID and that task number in the meeting chat. That doesn't mean you were absent necessarily. That just means I could not find it. If you see an A, but you know you were present and you had a connection issue or something like that, please email me. We'll try to correct that like that. But that's basically the results that I was able to see based on the meeting chat recording. Validation and attendance continued. So obviously if you see a P, you may enter that task into off qual with Colonel Taylor's cap ID, right? And again, if you showed as absent, please send an email to me with the excuse, right? The instructions are all there. I know it's lengthy, I know it's long, but I don't want to send out 50 million emails that are all essays. So the instructions are all there for you guys to see in the course handout. And moving forward, just for this week's quizzes, full disclosure, we have not written much of the quizzes for the tasks that we covered today because, again, I've been on the road. I will be on the road. I'm returning to the Air Force Academy on Wednesday, so I got a lot of stuff to take care of, right? I did make a decision. We will extend the deadline instead of being 0100 on Saturday, right, or midnight Friday for Mountain Time people or stuff like that. We extended it to Sunday, right? Give you some extra time for July 4th and stuff like that. Again, please take the quizzes only once, right? The general knowledge quiz will be available indefinitely because that is a prerequisite for every other quiz. The week 1 quizzes will continue to be available for a few days, right? So if you missed the deadline, please get it in as soon as possible, but also send me an email if you sent it in late. That way I can go back and grade those. Again, we're working to get remediation quizzes written and posted as soon as possible. And please continue on sending feedback, disputes, concerns, everything to me. I will try to work with you. And if we decide that, hey, there's a real problem with one of the questions, we will do something like we did before. We'll either, remove the question from the grading criteria or try to agree on an outcome. So that is my spiel on the quizzes. I know it's a lot. Let's see. I'm going to look in the chat.
Okay. Felix?
Yep.
I've been looking at some of the questions. All right, everybody. What I want you to do, because Cadet Zangs, again, he's en route to the Air Force Academy. The next time we talk to him will be in a student center or something. So he and I will be working behind the scenes. As you can see, I wouldn't have been able to do this without him. I'm not as computer literate as he is. If you have any questions, I want you to send them to rtaylor at ilwg.cap.gov. and you can CC, CC Felix, but I will be he'll see him, but he doesn't have to answer them. And the same thing, just F. Zangs, you got an LRM Wing email too, right, Felix?
Oh, sorry, what was that? I'm trying to respond to a question.
You what? You have an LRM Wing email, right?
Yes, sir. It's in the course handout along with yours. And
Yeah. In Illinois, we use our first initial, last name, ilwg.cap.gov. So if you have a question, I know I've seen a bunch on here, you can send me an email. I got a little more time, and I can always just say, hey, Felix, what about this? And while he's on the road, he won't have to worry about it. Again, we really don't want anyone to fail. This class was set up, and you can thank Colonel 30-Acre. He's the one that came up with the idea, and then beat the bushes to get some instructors. I guess we got ICUT and then all sorts of other classes going on. And I was surprised that we had people from all over the country. I mean, I've been signing off squirters from Florida, Alabama, everywhere. So thank you for joining us. And I hope everyone's learning something from this. Anything else, Felix?
No, not for me. I think we can release everyone and answer individual questions if you agree with that.
What do you mean my head is full? I'm reading some of these. The only thing I want to say is thank everybody for showing up these last couple of weeks. We got another week or two to finish all these tasks up. Go ahead, Bob. You got something?
No, after you're done, I just thought of something I want to make sure they have for the next couple classes.
Okay. I know some people were saying they're confused with all the tests and everything. I apologize for this, but again, we're trying to do this as efficiently as we can, and it's difficult to do in an environment like this. Technically, what should happen is if you have your task guide, the green little Bible, there's questions at the end of each task, and you're supposed to tell the evaluator those questions, and that's the pass or fail. So that's essentially what we're trying to do. So it's kind of more challenging in this case, but we're trying to do everything essentially by the letter of the law as best we can, So bear with us. It is a work in progress, but we hope that you guys are going to be able to stick with it. So don't get frustrated. Or if you have any questions, just reach out and we'll try to clarify them. So.
Now, Cadet Zangs and Colonel 30-Acre and I were trying to figure out some of the advanced tasks and UDF tasks deal with maps. So we're trying to figure out how we can do this virtually. What I'm asking, if you can get your hands on a sectional and on a road map, it'd be great. Okay, because we're not sure exactly what we're going to do yet, but it'd be nice if you had one.
So that's all I had. Just if you guys don't have anything else, I think we can call it a night for everybody. And if anybody has any questions, they can more welcome to stick around. But
how you doing? This is First Lieutenant Gabriel Mangello. You have to excuse me. I was in the Army, so things go a little slower in my head. But I was wondering if offline I could maybe talk to Mr. 30-Acre, Colonel 30-Acre, just to kind of get a feel. I'm a little bit behind the eight ball with a couple things. I think I'm kind of like one of those abacus kind of guys. So can I give you a ring sometime? I mean, we go over. I don't want to take any attention from, unless you're going to bring it up now. But I think I don't know. I'm just trying to wrap my head around a couple things. Is that all right?
is it directly related to the course content or something like that? If so, you can reach out with one of the speakers.
Yeah, a couple things here. Well, I think some of it's the technical, but I don't want to embarrass myself any more than I have. So is that all right if I give you a buzz?
That's fine. Yep.
All right, thanks.
Anybody else? Hey, last week I was everybody said I was too loud. Now, how am I doing? I bought a new headset.
Still pretty loud.
Oh, and that might be my voice. That's what I told you. Thanks, Angela. She's smiling at me.
Take your headset off and try talking and see if it's coming through your computer or through your headset.
Hello, can you hear me now? Can you hear?
Just the same. It's
Right,
not,
it's going through-
it's not coming through your microphone on your headset. It's coming through your computer.
Oh, it's coming through the computer? Okay, yeah, I can hear you through this. Okay, great. Okay, I'll stay far away from the computer. Angela, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I got my driver's abstract. They gave me two because they didn't know which one to give me. So I have a supervision